Okay, mic testing 1 2 1 2. Let me know if you can hear the mic, folks. Okay. Okay, thanks for that, folks. Okay, everyone, I'm starting a couple of minutes early because I'm streaming and I'm on a different computer. Anyway, long story. Welcome to the Pro Trader and Plus Retail Sales Canada CPI. My name is Lee Goldstein, the trading director for 10 Minute Trades. Please remember, I'm not a financial advisor. It is possible to lose money trading futures, and all the trades we discuss for educational purposes. Okay, so I think everything is working. Not sure if they can see that beautiful face on YouTube, but we'll find out soon enough. So here's the deal. There's US retail and Canada CPI. Canada CPI, our current setup, has not been, it's not been a good trap trade. I also know that lots of folks don't like to do the trap trade, but sometimes it's just the way it is. I mean, retail is a trap trade. Now, it can always ruin the trap trade by blowing through the stops. It's possible that ruins a trap trade. If we get, unbelievable retail numbers, it could blow through the trap. But we don't really anticipate it. The trap's been working. Let me show you what I have here on our spike sheet. So the idea with the trap trade is we look at how big the bursts were. Okay. Now, one of the things that we're starting to see with retail, it's not that we're starting to see it, it's just maintaining a pretty big movement on a lot of the reports. You go back into September, October, November. November wasn't so big, but you got to remember too, if it traded with PPI, that's like retail on steroids. All right. If it traded with CPI, like in May, that's not a trap trade setup. All right. We would not have trap traded that, I would hope. June had a pretty darn big move, but our setup with a 70 tick second tier and a 20 to 25 tick stop should have survived the spike. It doesn't mean you won't get blown out if it keeps moving, but it should survive the spike. I think there's a lot of risk today. All right. I think there's more risk than usual. Retail's been moving quite a bit, and you can see it. You can see you got 60 ticks in December. Really, it started in October. Yes, there's occasional smaller moves. But if you notice, the reversals are not bad at all either. And that's what helps us make money on the trap. There's a couple of ways you can reduce risk on a trap trade. You can trade one tier, okay? Just trade the outer tier. I mean, we do have a breakout, but this report hasn't really been working except as a trap. That's what our setup is. It's been this way for a long time on retail. Let me show you. Yes, there's risk, but I'll tell you what our settings are. What you can try if you want. And look, retail is one of those reports, it moves lots of different instruments. It's probably okay to trade bonds on this report. We haven't been doing a lot of testing on bonds with it because it's been a good trap trade. Okay? You don't do a ton of testing when you have a winning setup. You do your testing when your setups are difficult, when they're not paying you. That's just common sense. We still do look at lots of different things. I want to tell you that we do. But when you have trap trade after trap trade working, and keep in mind that May is not in there because it was CPI. All right. Let's put me on the spot. All right. Let's put me on the spot. Well, I'm happy to say that in May, I did not recommend that everyone do a trap trade, okay? Because we knew it was CPI. So I was putting myself on the spot because I didn't remember what we did last May. I trade a million reports. I don't remember every report, what the setup was. I got to do research. So we recommended bonds in May. Okay, let's go through the video and see how they moved. See how they moved. What song is that? See how they moved, Lady Madonna. Okay, so here was May with bonds. Sander, the big issue with micros is we just sometimes don't know if it's going to be squirrely or not, and you're going to get those bigger moves. You know what I mean. So I want to be totally transparent. We did not test micros on this recently. And look at what happened to bonds in May. It was a whipsaw. It was a really it was a really poor trade. It was a great move, but it went down first, and that was the problem. But look, you maybe have to have your head examined if you're going to trade CPI as a normal breakout. I mean, really, I mean, it's very risky. We did it, and we got our head handed to us. Okay? If you're going to trade, and Sander, I'm thinking I would recommend. I think there's a lot of risk today. I think that I would consider ZF today. I would consider ZF. This is another one of those days where one contract of ZF, if we get a good breakout day, ZF doesn't kill you, right? If it stops, and it gives you a nice little profit if it works. I'm not a micro lover on breakouts. That's the truth. I'm just not. I love the micros on after the news, reversal continuation. I don't like them as much on the breakouts. They're okay on traps. They are okay on traps. So, Sander, in thinking about it, I would probably add at least 5 ticks to the tiers if I trade micros on the trap. But I also do think there is a breakout possibility today um, with bonds. It's possible. Because if it's a breakout kind of move, like I said, it will move lots of different instruments. But look, Sander, I know you made money this morning, and I know this is a family money trade, but it is a family money trade with extra risk today because the market, it's really because of the market. It's not because the trade hasn't performed. It's because the way the market can react if the news is better or worse than expected. I think it's not the setup that's riskier. It's the market reactions that we're looking at as riskier today. Roz, we haven't even looked at YM on this, so that would be just too out of left field for me. I would do the ZF because it's almost the same amount of money of risk, and I think you have way better liquidity, and I think you have a better opportunity. Now I am going to I'm going to keep my news off to the side because we've got the Canada news and the retail news. So I'll keep the retail news off to the side. I think a bracket of 20 is too big. I would consider a bracket, I think even 10 is big on bonds. But I think a bracket of 10 would be acceptable. And let me think a second about the stop. I think a 15 stop should be okay. If it's a whipsaw, I'm not so sure a 15 or a 20 tick stop will be the saving grace. I'm not anticipating a whipsaw today. I'm anticipating a significant move. That's what I'm anticipating. My concern is whether we get our reversal. That's my concern. Okay. So let's say now Canada CPI. Yeah. What do you want to add, Chantal? Whatever you want to add. Okay. Thank you very much. So if everybody, what Chantal was saying is 15 is plenty on a ZF stop. We had a 10 on ZN. So I don't think Canada CPI is tradable. It's not tradable as a trap trade right now. And if I were going to do anything on Canada CPI, I would trade it as a breakout I'd probably make that bracket a 10. The Canada reports have been definitely some not moving, not giving a lot of profit. They really just haven't been very profitable. So we haven't really been spending a lot of time trading them. Um, Me personally, I would not bother trading Canada CPI, certainly not in my cash account. It's not anywhere near approaching a family money trade. I would not trade it. If I were going to trade it, I'd trade a breakout. Let me show you one Canada CPI. And I do want to welcome everyone who's watching us on YouTube. Thank you very much. Hit that like button. It helps us. Canada CPI. Let me see if I have last month. So last month, we're still in July, so it would have been June. Let's just take a quick look. And similar to what we're doing today, a little bit tinier on the bracket. Last month, I believe it was a huge breakout. That's what I think happened. Canada CPI. Now, January. Hang on, hang on. Let me see what month, make sure we're on the right month here. So back in January, it was a trap. But June is what we want to look at. It was the only trade we were trading that morning. I did not trade it live in my cash account. I remember this trade now, and I got a lousy fill in my Buell Knox. Or no, I didn't trade it in my Buell Knox. That's fine. I remember people that traded it as a breakout had a good trade, and it would have blown up the trap. Okay. So I believe that Canada CPI is more of a trap these days than a breakout. So if you want to trade it, I think the setup is fine. I think the setup as is fine. So if you want to trade it, it's a bracket of 829.58 on the trigger, targets of anywhere between. That was a big move, but there was slippage, 8 and 20, and the stop is 30, so that, if you get filled and it whips, you can survive. Now, the gold trade today, the trap trade on retail, it's got risk. I mean, I'm not lying, folks. We've got risk here. And I've got my old trap trade loaded. I've been doing so much experimenting, I forgot to load the newest version, but that's okay. There was a very small update on the trap. 25 on the stop, and then the time of the event is 8:30 if you're using the old version. If you're using the new version, the time is 8:29:55. Old version, 8:30, and activation prep is 5 seconds. Account warnings not enabled. Turn them off. Trap. Now, it's significant risk. It's a $500 or $600 loss if this trade blows through the stops. So if you want to reduce your risk, First of all, I forgot the tiers, 55 and 72 is what I'm using. 55 and 72. Okay, those are my tiers. Position size 1 is a 1. That means you have one contract for position 1. Position size 2 is a 1. So if you want to trade just one tier, you would choose the outer tier. So let's say you choose 72. So your tier 1 would be 72. And your position size 1 would be a 1. Position size 2 would be a 0. And tier 2 would be a 0. Everything else would be the same. Okay? Everything else would be the same. So that's the trap. Now, don't forget on a trap you have buttons, the break even button, close the trade button, adjust we don't use, cancel the outer tier. If you get filled and only one order fills, sometimes we have to cancel the extra order so we can bring our stop to safety if you choose to. And we also have the combine button, combine multiple orders into one position if you want to. Okay. Now, if for instance you do want to trade, let me set up a reverse continuation for Buellnox on gold also. It's only if I have time and I'm able to do it. And it is on micros. So I'm doing a couple of positions, targets of 15 and 30 with a stop of 25. And that's totally a discretionary trade, only if I'm interested in taking it. So just two positions. Position 1 is a 1, position 2 is a 1. Targets of 15, 30. Remember, targets are, it could be 10 and 25, all right? The stop is 25. It's just a potential discretionary trade if it gives us an opportunity. Like we had an opportunity when we did NOPA yesterday, right? We knew we were in the right direction, so I jumped in my Buellnox in the same direction as our cash trade, and it worked great. Okay? If you don't like what you see or you're confused, you don't have to do anything. And that's what's great about reverse continuation. It just puts buttons on your chart so that you can trade. And then I think I would rather, let me show everybody, if I were going to try ZN this morning, ZN0924 on a retail breakout, ZF, let's say ZF, ZF0924, okay, to keep our risk manageable today. Strategy, JOBB, it's a breakout. ZF, you can trigger 829.58. So the bracket, let's say we use a bracket. I think a bracket of 8 should be okay on bonds. Positions, target 8 and 20, and be prepared to manage a bit. 8 and 20, and we said a stop of 15 should be fine. Target one stop move. Look at the markets. There's volatility here, folks. Gold is opening at 820. Okay. And it's right now, and that's why you're seeing that volatility. It just looks like it's going to test the high. Target one stop move on bonds, BE -3. So 829.58 bracket of 8 to 10 is fine. Targets anywhere between 6 and 20ish. Stop is 15, and then target one stop move BE -3. Okay. And then label it ZF, right? ZF. Make sure you choose your account and then apply it so it shows up in your control panel. All right. Apply it so it shows up in your control panel. Now, I'm not trading bonds. I'm just showing everybody for folks out there. GC Trap and Sim entry time for version 11, 829.55. 829.55. So if the prep is 5 seconds, just take the 5 seconds off the time of the event. If the event is 8:30 and the prep is 10 seconds, it would be 829.50. If we're putting our orders on the chart for 10 seconds, you want 829.50. Put your orders on the chart 10 seconds before. All right. So I'm going to watch Canada because, very honestly, if you're not trading it live, you're not being able to gauge the true slippage anyway, in particular on Canada. So I'm just going to watch it. I really don't feel like being distracted by it, to be honest. So I'm just looking at all the tech I've got going here. If you want to check your time sync, everyone, right? You can use the pre-trade checklist. It's a very easy way to check time sync. You can download the pre-trade checklist. It's in a folder on the taskbar of the trade room. Top of the trade room, if you look to the top above the streaming charts, you'll see an open folder called Room Drive. You can download the pre-trade checklist and a few other files also, files that help you sync your computer. D4 Time and PT Sync. Click the time is, and my clock is out of sync. So what do you do if your clock's out of sync? I use Dimension 4. It's a program that helps to put me in sync. So when you use Dimension 4, if you have it installed, I press the Sync Now button until I see the synchronized line change. Once I see the synchronized line change, I can go back to time.is, check my sync again, and I should be in sync. And where'd my chart, hang on, my chart didn't show up, so let me do it again. Here it is. And now my time's exact. So using Dimension 4 or Karen's time sync helps to put you in sync. Now, using the pre-trade checklist is a good idea, especially if you're new. Are you trading the correct symbol? Is your chart set to the time frame you want to be on? Is your trade type correct? Did you choose a trap if you're doing a trap? Did you need to check for margins? Is your time correct in the software? 829.55 on the trap trade, right? If you're doing a breakout, is your bracket size correct? Are you trading live or sim? Uncheck your account warnings. Okay. If you're trading version 10, check your time sync. We just did that. Do you have your stops and targets entered? Label your trade. This pre-trade checklist is great, especially if you're new. Are you live or sim or prop account, right? Don't forget, enable the trade in the control panel when you're done. And there's something missing from our pre-trade checklist. When you're done adjusting all your inputs, when you're done, press the apply and OK. Now I'll add that to the pre-trade checklist. Mine is grayed out because I have not made any changes. Okay? If you make changes, it'll let you press apply again. So it takes the change and trades the change. So we need a pretty big move on gold to get filled. 50, 55 ticks, if I remember, right? It's a good idea. If you never traded the trap trade, practice some. Don't just immediately trade a trap trade live. If you never even did one in playback, don't do that. Practice. Take a couple of practice trades with us in the room. Just watching the price at the moment. I'm sorry I didn't get to show a video, but the trap trade's been filling and changing direction. Okay? Well, it's Prime Day. I need to buy a lot of stuff. My phone's completely broken. I hate my new computer. In fact, I'm not using it. I updated my previous computer. I think it's faster. I have a really fast computer I have to sell. I bought a very big desktop, Roz, because I needed it for some. I needed a big graphics card in it. What is it? It's a power. I forget. It's a power computing. It's a pretty popular company that makes them. I'm sorry I didn't get the Dell. I wanted the Alienware. I was deciding between the Alienware and the one that I got. The one that I got had better features. It was better features for the money, but I really like the Alienware, some of their computers. I know Dell gets a bad rap, but they actually do some things right. They have on-site service. And the stupid computer I bought, the fan is rattling and I can't fix it. And I can't barely even lift it up, let alone get it to the UPS store or even in the box. I don't think I can even get it in the box. Okay, our orders are going to show up in 5 seconds. There's my orders. There's my first order. There's my second order. I'm definitely worried about this. If I'm hitting my combine button, not yet. I'd like to get my first target right here. Move my stop to safety. Now, no matter what happens, I can't lose. Move my order to the high of the day. I don't care if it goes down now. I made a little bit of money. If it keeps going up, I'll trail. I don't want to get too close because there's a lot of downward pressure. There's a lot of downward pressure. If it'll trail up, I'll keep letting it trail, but I think I'm going to get stopped for a small profit. The news, yeah, so look, I only made 170 on that. Only made 170. It's my own fault. I got too tight. I got too tight. Um, the news numbers, the news numbers, let me get the news. I definitely got out too soon. Let me close the news so I don't have to deal with all those pop-ups. Let me start it over on the news. I think Canada had an unbelievable move. I didn't even see it because I was concentrating so heavily on retail. See what fear, how fear can ruin a trade. Full transparency, I let my fear of getting stopped ruin that retail trade. It's an unbelievable break trap trade, and I've left about $400 on the charts by being worried that I was going to get stopped out. And I trailed too tight. I trailed too tight. And let me be really 1 billion transparent. I didn't check the news. I just let my emotions ruin this trade. I mean, that's the truth. I let my emotions ruin the trade. If we look at the news, retail sales were great. All right. Point 0.4 versus point 0.1, they were fabulous. Everywhere I look, I really don't see bad news out of retail. It was a very good report. Because of the gigantic push down, it worried me that it was going to hit my stop. That's what worried me. Sander, fantastic, great trade on ZF. Okay, great trade on ZF. Now, the trap trade, if you just let it sit, you would have been fine. You would have been fine. And I'll show you. Let's just let the price action play out. Canada, their CPI, let's see what happened here. It was better than expected. Yeah, um, lower pretty much across the board. It looks like Canada's news, except for the trimmed, which is a small piece of news. Looks like Canada was okay. No bad news there. Looks like, was it an unsafe move, Chantal, Canada? It looks like it had a burst up and a quick reversal. Maybe you could have made money on the move up. We'll watch the video and we'll see. I'm guessing nobody trade Canada. But I definitely left. Look, we made $170 on the trap, but it could have been 400 because it. Look at the reversal. Look at the reversal. It worked as expected, but I let my fear of getting stopped because it is a big stop. 25 tick stop on gold is $500. I didn't feel like getting stopped. I'm being truthful. I let my emotions ruin the trade for me. I'm human. It is what it is. And I don't, at this point, I don't have a second trade with gold. Okay, I just don't. You have to be watching at the exact moment the news comes out for these opportunities, the reversal continuations. Sometimes you can get one now. I'm listening. Up. Okay, that was 40 up and then it had the big move down. Oh, wait. But look at my chart. My chart is showing that. Hold on. Let me just double check one thing. Am I crazy? No, you're right. You're right. I was misreading the chart. It looked like it moved up dangerously at before we put our orders on. Yeah. Okay. I had like an 8 to 10, so it would have been a good trade. I think it would have been good. Okay. Thanks. Thank you. So it's definitely now looking like Canada CPI has become a tradable report with breakouts. All right. We've had two very good ones in a row. So I'll probably start trading it because it looks like it's worth trading. All right. David, you did a trap or a breakout? Greg, nice trade. Frank, ES and GC, very nice. It's like this. This was a day where it looks like everything worked, right? Everything worked. ZF. Yep. Look at that move on ZF. Just awesome. Like gold. Same move as gold this morning. All right. Very good. I feel good. I feel good. I don't care about my trade if you all made money. I mean, obviously I do because I'm a person too and I like to trade well, but frankly, folks, if you're making money, that's what's best. And that, I mean that. I'm not kidding. The indexes reversed better than gold, Chantal is saying. So you see you got a burst down on the ES and a real fast reverse. Faster, fast and big. So look, we have our trap. It is what it is. It made plenty of money for a whole bunch of people. So if you're not afraid of the trap, the problem is the trap can be very scary. It can be very scary, right? That's the reality. It can be scary. Hey, so thanks everybody on YouTube. Hit that like button so you can keep watching us trade. If you keep liking our streams, we'll keep doing it. Let's take a look at the video so we could now very strong downward move in gold. Wow. Let's take a look at the video. A lot of people made some nice money on this trade. Excellent. Send me some screenshots, please. Send me some screenshots. Okay. Let me render the video. I'm telling you that there is no question the hardest thing to deal with trading is your psychology. It's just that simple. Anybody, a monkey, can learn to do the setups with software. And we just show you over and over how to do it. Eventually, you know how to do it. It's the psychology, right? There's no two ways around it. It's the psychology. And I definitely let my psychology trail too tight. That's what it did. I trailed too tight because I really thought it would stop out. Now, maybe in retrospect, we should have used. I'm going to record the after while we talk about the after. Maybe in retrospect, we should have had a little bit bigger tiers. Retail's really starting to move. It's really starting to move. Ravi, I totally get it. I mean, that's what we're dealing with. It's that psychology. You see a little profit, and then you want to protect it. But the reason that psychology is really bad is because when you have a loser that's big, you need to have winners that are big also. So it offsets the occasional whipsaw loser, right? That's why you got to master the psychology. You have to. So this move, I was concerned. I don't mind telling you. I'll tell you why. This is what made me worried. It was a burst that really looked like it could very easily keep going to the stop. Right there. But then look, then you know what? It was just ridiculous psychology. There, it got me nervous there, though. That was a little bit nerve-wracking right there. I thought maybe we were in trouble there. And then, boom. Now, just leave the stop at break even. Now, would it have hit? Let's see. If the stop was just left at break even, don't move it. Chicken, chicken little, right? That's what got me is that I kept moving it after it was break even. Okay. So I'm hearing from everybody that every instrument works. Canada worked. Let's look at Canada. I forgot, never looked at Canada. And then we'll look at the trap once more and I'll explain the trap. So there was the move up on Canada. It was well before the orders went on the chart. That was a really fast move with Canada. I think that the fill might not have been that great. That's the truth. That was really fast. No one traded Canada, right? I'm not so sure in a prop account. I don't know if a data feed would have been able to deal with that. That was ultra fast. Now, looking at the trap trade. So remember, what's the idea of the trap trade? If the market goes down, we buy. If the market goes up, we sell. We assume we're getting a reversal because that's what our studying has told us. So it's a big burst down, and it's pretty fast. It's pretty fast. I really prefer the trap trade to a breakout in gold on this report because it's really working. So you get filled both tiers. So you have two orders waiting to get filled. The reason you have to think about moving them is because the original orders now become your targets. So the price went down and you're long. Your short orders above you are too far away now to be good targets. That's why, see, we're filled, right? Look how far away those targets are because they're your old orders if the market had burst up. So you want to pull them down. If I see a high of the day like that, that's a good place to pull them down to. Pull your orders to good support and resistance where there's a good chance they'll get hit. Okay? So maybe my first order I bring somewhere in the middle of the candle, and my second order I bring to the high of the day. I just brought it way too far down. Fear, okay? Give yourself an opportunity to make some money. If you bring it too far down, you're cutting off your profit. Okay? That's how the trap works. The only other complicating issue would be if only one tier filled. Then When it reverses, you have to cancel the outer tier so you can put your stop to safety. But I'll explain that when we have one of those. Right now, trap trades are filling both tiers because the markets are really moving on news. We're definitely seeing big movement. The markets are sensitive. And, with interest rates, everyone's expecting the Fed to cut. Retail sales pretty explosive. I don't know how that's going to affect the Fed. We'll be hearing about it all day, I'm sure. All right, let me say thank you for everyone on YouTube. I'm going to close our YouTube stream. Thank you all for joining us. And hit the like button on your way out. We'd appreciate it.